Alright, Goofy Gottschalks. I've been working so much that I forgot almost what you do with the day off. So I think I'll do my laundry. Nice snowy day here. And let's check the temperature. Look at that. It feels like minus 22, actual minus 1. I'm the opposite of a lot of people. I get excited about winter because it's, I don't know why. It reminds me of fun things like skiing and sledding and things like that. Ice skating. I didn't grow up like on, what do you call it? We had video games, but I spent a lot of time outdoors and learned how to enjoy all 4 seasons. Alright, so typical, I guess a typical, I don't even know anymore. Like I said, I feel like I've been working so much, but let's see what we're doing on a typical Saturday morning. Dogs hopefully not peeing on the floor because they're too cold to go out. Right, Teddy? My awesome son. Like I said, I'm going to take some laundry out, take the trash out. And I'm curious because that's kind of colder than almost I've ever been in, not having grown up here. But I was at negative 30 one time for a, what do you call it? Service mission trip to Canada to help do firewood for a camp up in Canada with the Mennonite group that I grew up with. And so I got to feel like what negative 30 was like one time. But other than that, even though I worked and played outside year round, where I was from, it would only get to about, normally only get down to about like 0 or minus 5 for the coldest day in the winter. Although they're also having, I checked and they're having like minus 14 wind chills today. But generally, so took care of some chores, put some dishes away, randomly made some soup. For some reason, that's what I was hungry for. Sometimes I've been making homemade soup, but ain't nobody got time to sit here all day and make that yet. But I might do that later today or tomorrow for the next day or for that day. Actually, I think we're having meatball subs tomorrow. I was going to call them hoagies because, anyway, made some soup and toast. Put olive oil and butter in there. And it's really late actually for breakfast. I slept in unusually late. But I've been up for a little while now. But gonna make some omelets for my wife and whoever else wants them. I like omelets and I like a lot of food. So, but for some reason this is what I was hungry for, is soup. And I even cut up, even though we're in the dead of winter, I got some chives growing over here. They didn't look too good because I forgot to order them for about a week. But I got some chives growing and I put them in my soup. I like to have fresh food, fresh vegetables, even though I'm eating out of a can right now, but I've tried to freshen it up a little bit. And now I'm going to make some omelets for whoever wants that. Thought about maybe pancakes, sometimes French toast. Probably just omelets today, actually, I think. Unless somebody really wants pancakes, but I don't think they care. Hunter said he doesn't want them, and I don't know about anybody else. But snowing, minus 22, and a day off after working a lot, so gonna get caught up on laundry. See what happens when I put it out there. Still got an old one out there, an old piece of laundry blowing around, stiff and frozen. So, see what happens. I'm just kind of curious. Part of it is to save the dryer takes a lot of wear and tear. Try to save it for my wife and kids. And I usually put mine outside even in winter. Try to help it have one less wear and tear on it per week to help it last longer for them. Because it's annoying when it breaks down and it's gas and it's almost have to get someone else. I got someone else to help do the gas connection, like a plumber, because I know how to do it, but I just really wanted to make sure it's not something I do every day. and with it being gas, it's a little iffy if you don't do it every day. So let's see. So we're yay, snow. I was gonna say snow day, but snow day sounds like, when you say snow day, I think they mean like everyone stays home and doesn't do anything. But there's people out doing stuff as usual, so life doesn't stop. But it is kind of a nice day for a snow day to hopefully not do much, actually, for a change. But
Durf,
even by
carry on Durf's legacy.
even by not doing much, my idea of not doing much and my wife's idea of not doing much is probably still doing a lot of stuff, chores and cleaning and maybe grocery shopping. And grocery shopping's different up here. They just keep doing it. Not like where we came from in Southeast PA, where they are a little more. They're a little bit used to snow down there, and they got a lot this winter now, but they're a little more panicky and stuff with running out and getting the eggs, toast, and or bread and whatever. And up here, it doesn't matter. You just keep going. You just go to the grocery store whenever you want. And even before the big, like our biggest one, about a week and a half or two ago, there was like a bigger snowstorm, and they had the roads bare in like hours. And it was drivable probably the whole time. I mean, depending how you define drivable, to me it's drivable. Enough to get traction. I guess it's been snowing pretty good here this morning, so they're a little covered right now, but that doesn't usually last long. If you want to experience that, you got to get out there quick, because they clear it off so quick. Like I said, I'm the opposite of a lot of people. The way I think about winter and things, I see it as an opportunity and a blessing and a fun and a something fun. Although it is obviously bad for the heat bill. It kills us with that, but that's why I'm working on this. I got a permit to put a wood stove in to try to help with that. Uh-oh, the flag. Hey, the flag blew away. I wonder where it went. There used to be a flag out there. A lot of icicles these days. What I like about here too, it doesn't go back and forth as much. It's just winter. It's not like, although some people, depending where you're from, some people say it does compared to where they're from. It's all relative. But to me, it's a little more more reliable of a winter. I didn't like the 33-degree rain and stuff. I'd rather just have well, it depends on the situation and what you're doing and everything, but I kind of like 25-degree snow or whatever snow instead of, or even the colder it gets, the drier it is too, and easier to shovel. Actually, I like it actually when it's like really cold snow. It's real fluffy and powdery. Where I came from, it was a lot of times like heavy slush, wet, and a mess. And especially if you're in like a city, it's like a whole different experience. But in the small town or a country, it's beautiful. But in the big city, it's like just piles of half frozen gray slush and stuff. That's all you see, instead of nice blankets on roofs and soft covered evergreens and stuff like that. All right, anything else to say on this unusual day off that I feel like I don't usually have? I feel like we just work a lot. But what's that mean?
No, I'm in.
Should I be scared right now? I thought you were gonna keep making a noise as I got closer. Oh, phone's ringing for work. Okay, here we go again. So much for the day off. Just kidding. Maybe not kidding. But yeah, I just wanted to share my my random morning. And what else? Wood stove project hopefully going soon. Finally got the Texas done. Was working hard on that, and then working hard at work. Love Four Seasons. Some people think it's a flex when they say, oh, it's in 50, 60, or 70 degrees or 80 degrees, you know, in Florida or Arizona or something. That's great. I'm happy for them. I'm glad they like it. But and I like those temperatures too sometimes, but I like them in the, I was going to say the right time of year. I like them in the right time of year. I'm just kidding. I like them in the summer. We have those temperatures for like 5 or 6 months, just like they have them for 5 or 6 months, probably they just have them a different time of year. And I like those temperatures too. And we also have we have plenty of days of those temperatures. A lot of days of those temperatures, probably just as many or almost more in some places. Maybe not more than they do, but it depends what temperature you're talking about and what location. But we have plenty of 50, 60, 70, 80, and goes up to 90 or so or more if it on the hottest. But we have plenty of warm days other times of year, and then we get to have this, which to me is a positive. At least the kid in me, the adult in me knows it's a challenge. It can be a challenge and make things challenging, but the kid in me loves it. And if you're prepared, if you can afford the heat bill, which is actually kind of getting iffy these days because it's astronomical, but if you can afford shelter, food, and clothing, and have power, or have a way to be warm and eat and everything, and shelter, then preferably electric. And if you don't have to work outside all day. It's easy to say now because I used to work outside all day, and that was kind of difficult sometimes. But you do learn how to some extent, acclimate and dress right for it. As they say in Norway, that no such thing as bad. I've heard they say that there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing. The point being, if you know how to dress for it, you can actually be comfortable, pretty much, if you have the right clothing. And enough clothing. Now, I do, though I pretty much basically agree with that statement, but I don't agree in the sense that there is such thing as bad weather. It's called hurricanes, tornadoes, and lightning, and 100-degree days with 100% humidity when you're trying to do roofing and stuff like that. That's bad weather to me. But maybe they don't have those things actually in Norway so much. Where that saying came from. So for there, maybe it's true in their local area. Oops, there just goes a big truck, just like in every day. I don't know, I'm curious. This whole thing's like an adventure for me, because like I said, I've always been curious about how and why people live like in colder places, and I moved to a colder place. Although it's somewhat similar, but it's definitely a little bit colder usually. Oh yeah, I should check that work message. Just checking my work message here. Make sure it's not something really urgent, because I do take care of facilities, so there might be an issue. Okay, it's not a super urgent message. I'll get to that in a minute. Alright, so glad to be here. Nice small town. They're not afraid of snow. And especially it's easy for me to say now that I have a primarily more of like an office job. Now it's easy to say, but I get it. If for people that have to work outside and stuff, that's different. But and I go out there too sometimes and like I said, I'm going to do my laundry today out there, kind of out of curiosity, just to see what it does. Freeze dry, I don't know. And windy. There's enough wind to dry it now. But my son likes to make sound effects in the background. And we love them, and we love our kids. And what was I going to say? It's an adventure. It's an interesting experience. To some people, it's an annoyance or something they want to get away from. To me, it's something glad that I got to experience and grow up with a little bit, and now even more came true. I used to wish for more snow as a kid, and now I live in upstate New York, so God must have heard that wish. There was one comment from somebody from Florida was like, "Oh, but you guys have to scrape your cars or whatever." As you see, like the car's a little bit dusted again, like normally happens sometimes. And I don't know, it was like the way the comment it's in writing, so maybe I took it the wrong way or something. But it almost seemed like really like it almost seemed, I forget how it was written, but it came across as like really like, oh, we're so much better here in Florida because we don't have to deal with that, or like I'd hate to be you guys having to dust off. And I went out there and did, like, I thought about that the next day. I went out there and it literally took, now sometimes more than others, depending on the conditions, but a lot of times, if that's my worst problem, like, I don't, whatever, like, there's ways to, not a huge deal. Usually it is, can be a little bit of an annoyance, and especially if you're in a hurry. But like I said, this snow is so powdery, it just falls right off a lot of times. And you don't always, although it does snow here a lot, but it doesn't always, you don't always have that. Some winter, especially some winters, this winter seems to really be extra snowy. But I remember thinking the one winter, like, I don't even have to deal with frost that much. As I felt like I had winters in PA, Southeast PA, where I had to deal with frost more. Are you eating your vegetables? Excuse me, eating your vegetables, son? I made sure to put fresh vegetables in my soup. I cut up little chives growing in the corner garden thing here, whatever, for lack of a better word. They don't look too great, actually, because I forgot to water them. Been so busy working and doing taxes. Oh, what do you got in your mouth? Careful, you could choke. So,
Ma'am?
even though it's out of a can, there are vegetables
Ma'am, please calm down.
in there. I always like to eat vegetables. I read it in the Bible, actually, one time about something in Daniel.
Wow.
And not that I don't eat other things, as you can see, but and I don't think
Well,
that's
as we can see.
I don't think that was necessarily the. Anyway, what am I gonna
I
say?
have stage 5 diabetes.
So, how do people in what do people in PA? What's your experience? What's your experience with snow in PA? How do people react? 1 to 3 inches. 4 to 6 inches. Southeast. What do they do?
I get bread and eggs.
Yeah. How about buffalo? How about buffalo? 3 to 6 inches. 10 to 12 inches. 4 to 6 feet. Is that what they say? What do they do? What does Buffalo do when they? Well, we don't live in Buffalo, but I'm saying Buffalo because they seem to really get like. And there's this other place that's even better. I call it better. Some people call it worse. There's this cool place I heard about called Tug Hill, New York, where they literally get, I guess, like 200 to 300 inches per year. And weather's funny, isn't it? Like some people, a lot of people used to think, even me, I think for a while, on the East Coast, like or anywhere really, maybe different places. Oh, it doesn't snow like it used to, or like sometimes you think like, sometimes you can't even imagine it when you're in the summer. Like, oh, that was a thing of the past, or like that was. It's weird. It's like, or even if you have a light winter.
Road to 1,000 subscribers, come on.
Sometimes you have a light winter, even in a place that can snow a lot. Like in the West right now, I heard they're having a really light winter so far, but it's not over yet, either. And I heard they are getting some now. I think last I heard. But then they're like, I've heard some people panicking about it, like, oh no, like no more this whatever, like there's not going to be any more snow anymore, like ever or something. They make it sound like, I feel like. And then that's how people were. That happened here too. Like a couple years ago, I read an article like, oh, there's going to be no more. Granted, maybe I'd have to go back and look and make sure I'm not taking it out of the context. Maybe they were maybe they were theorizing that, 10 or 20 years from now, but I don't think they were saying that. I think they were just saying like from now on, like, and this was a couple years ago, like, oh, there's not going to be enough snow to go skiing or something, like up in upstate New York or something. The article I think was saying, and here we are. There's lighter winters and there's heavier winters. And it's funny because their idea of a light winter is like what, Hunter? Their idea of a really light winter up here, where we live now, in this area, and it depends what area you're in of New York, they're all just like PA. It's a big state, so you could have different experiences in different places. And there's actually different climate zones or hardiness zones in PA and in New York, ranging from, so you could have a lot of different experiences depending where you are. But in this area, I've heard like the lightest winter I've had here so far in since I've been here. I think it was like 50 inches total for the year. 50, I think. If I read, I don't know. I have to really don't quote me. I'd have to go back and really double check. But just from what I remember and what I read, random bits and pieces. Um, but I read a lot of things. But I thought I remember it saying the one year a few years ago was like 50 inches, and I do know it was really light. It was like barely. I barely had to get out a snowblower or anything, and and barely even shoveled much that winter even, and it helped that in this immediate area it's not the depth at one time so much. Although we've been getting that too now more so, but this winter, but it's more the frequency, just like little dustings every day. But this is a little bit more than that, I think. And it's still there from like 2 weeks ago, and then we had like at least a foot or whatever, plus like dustings on top of that every day, and it doesn't melt very much this time of year apparently, or at least not this winter. But that goes back to my point. Some winters it does. Some winters it is warmer, and even we did have 40 degrees. In this winter, even in this winter, we had a few weeks of not snow, and like too warm to snow. Like right around Christmas, actually, surprisingly, was like one of the few times. But we had snow this time from like Thanksgiving. But there was a few weeks like around Christmas and New Year, beginning of January, that were actually relatively warmer. And then the last few weeks, it's been really cold, especially today. We're at like a low right now, which is an interesting experience for me. But 50 inches is an idea of a light winter for them. And where I came from, I looked it up. The numbers where I came from are between, again, depending exactly where you're talking about, but generally the region that I came from, region could even vary, but 20 to 30 inches. The places that I lived in most of my life before up here were around like 20 to 30 inches per year. Now that's average. So just like here, it's average. The average here is like 80 to 100, I've heard. And so you have winters that it's 50 inches up here. You have in this one, we're I think at 100 now or so. I'm not sure actually. I'd have to double check. I know it's above 80. Last I saw total snowfall. But again, usually it's just like an inch at a time, and I guess it must melt a little bit, obviously, because there's obviously not 80 inches, like literally, like out there right now, or blow away. It blows, but then where does it blow to? You'd think it'd be. I guess that's where you get drifts from. But oh no, I love this topic. I love this life. It is a challenge with the heat bill right now, so I'm gonna have to get back to working on ways to. Look for how to help with that, working on our budget and our finances and our installing the wood stove, and seeing if we can insulate the house any better. It's an old house, but I love how you can just even though it snows much more often here, it doesn't really matter. Like you can do whatever. You can drive around almost all the time, pretty much. And they're really good at clearing the roads, in my opinion, compared to where I've seen before. They know how to do it in Southeast PA too, but this is like, look at that. That's all you see is snow. That's not all you see, but you know what I mean? The per capita I'd like to see like a chart or like a graph or something, infograph, whatever you call it, of a snowplow per capita of population, because it must be off the charts in this little town. Snowplows per capita. And I guess it depends if you're talking about public, like the actual town snowplows, and then there's private ones that you can commercially pay to have your driveway done. But either way, no matter how you look at it, the snowplow per capita up here is probably off the charts. Probably one of the highest areas. At least compared to where I came from and other places I've lived. For example, I lived in Atlanta for a year way back, a long time. There's another one. and that's I know that company. That's a commercial company that does that. Um, so they take care of the facilities that I manage. And I actually got a text from them saying they're almost sounds like they want to go home because they're too cold, which is I never heard of up here before. So it must be cold. Um, forget what I was gonna say. I go off on tangents. What was I just talking about? Snowplows per capita. Oh, I lived in it back in like 2000. I lived in Atlanta for a year for a voluntary. So there's another snowplow. It's more of a personal one, probably. Or, I don't know. It might have been commercial, but looked like a personal truck, or a smaller sole proprietor kind of thing, or part time. Like when I worked with roofers back in PA, some of them did or like landscapers. Obviously you're not really doing landscaping, so to have work to do, to have work in the winter, some of the jobs that are outdoor do snow plowing in the winter and then other outdoor work in the summer. But Atlanta for a year, I heard at the time, I don't know, it's just something I heard, but someone had mentioned down there that supposedly they only had like, at the time, this was years and years ago, 5 like snowplow trucks for the city or something. I don't know, just a rumor that I heard. But I'd have to look it up. But then I came home to Philly, or not home to Philly. I didn't live in Philly, but that area, that region, definitely outside of Philly, an hour or so. I grew up, hour 45 minutes, and but to compare it, Atlanta to Philly was our nearest big city where I grew up, and so now granted, Philly's a lot bigger than Atlanta, but I think it's like, or at the time, I think it was like 3 times bigger. And again, depends how you define population and where you draw the line, and because there's sprawling suburbs everywhere. But the city itself versus the city itself of Atlanta, I think is like 3 times bigger. Philly to Atlanta, something like that. I don't know. It might be 2 times. Anyway, it's definitely bigger. But Philly had at one point, I think like 300 like city snow plow trucks. I think it said when I looked it up. This was quite a while ago. Could be wrong, but just to get a rough idea. And it kind of makes sense, obviously, because, obviously you need them more the further, I was going to say the further north you go, but it's not always about north exactly necessarily. The further, more continental climate you go, and a lot of factors, elevation. But obviously north is a factor, especially in the northern part of the hemisphere. So, thanks for listening to my ramblings. And up here, they probably have, I feel like they have, I was going to say 300, but it's such a small town. It's such a small town that, it wouldn't be a comparison, but maybe like if you tried to compare Buffalo or however they say it, Albany, there's another one. Look at that. That's beautiful. It has the side wing on it, clears out does a great job. That one was actually plowing because it was actually a town. They call it the village. It was actually a village or town or state highway, whatever. But it was like a city. We don't call it a city here, but like a city truck. And then the other ones were just driving around, going to their job sites or coming home for their job sites if they didn't have to plow down. To their privately paid ones. So, yeah, I'd really be interested to see the snowplow per capita of places like this compared to other places, and just all the different places, and see how they all compare. In the South, sometimes I think they say like, oh, well, we don't usually get snow, so we don't bother doing that. It kind of makes sense. I get it. But then I kind of think, well, up here, it's like so cool, even it gets hot in the summer. It can get hot in the summer, above 90 and humidity. But to some people, might not think that's even very hot. But if you're starting from this in the winter in January, and then you're going up to a few months later, you're going up to 90. It's pretty much of a shock. It feels hot, and I can see why. Because when I moved up here, I was like, why are they freaking out about 92 degrees more than snow? Extreme heat warning, 92 degrees. Granted, it does have the high humidity, which makes it feel another 10 degrees hotter or so. But I went off on another tangent now. I forget what else I was going to say about that. But the the South. Oh, so. But I'm like, well, we still get. Maybe this isn't a fair comparison, but like the reasoning is like, oh, if it's a place where it doesn't happen very much, like the South, it doesn't happen very much that they get snow, right? Some parts of the South, at least, like these places, we're not prepared for it, so we're stuck. Okay, but even if it only happened once every, I don't know, maybe it's not exactly a great analogy because like we do get above 90 at least once a year here in the summer. More, we have. I don't think it ever not does that or whatever. If that makes sense. But we still buy an The point is, like, a lot of people still buy air conditioning. Like, you might not need as much of it or run it as much, but just for when it does happen. So that's why I wonder with the South now, air conditioner versus a snowplow truck maybe is not a fair comparison either. That's a big difference in cost and everything, maintenance. But depending what you're talking about, like a central air conditioning system versus like, you know, a snowblower just for your driveway, or like a one snowplow for a pickup truck, might be roughly comparable, and you won't need as much snow. You won't need as big of a I get it. Like you won't need as big of a snow truck, or you won't need as many of them, and you won't need. But wouldn't you just buy? And same thing with like air conditioning up here. You don't need as much capacity. You don't need as big of an air conditioner. You don't need as to run it as often. You don't need. You might even just get away with like we have like more like a window unit kind of arrangement just in the bedrooms or something, or wherever you want to put them, like you're maybe not even central air. And so the analogy for the South could be if it snows there only, even if it's only once every 4 years or something on average, wouldn't you still want to have, and maybe they do in those places, depending where you're talking about. But some of the comments I see sometimes, like, oh, they don't have anything here because it only snows like once every 5 or 10 years. Well, wouldn't you want to have something at least for like the once, or for the time it does? Or maybe it's not worth it, I guess, because if it literally only is once every 10 years versus buying a truck and maintaining it. But you can put a plow on the front of a garbage truck or a pickup truck, and but wouldn't it be worth it to have it for the one time that it does? Just like we have air conditioners for the one time a year that it goes above 90. On average, maybe one. It can go more than once above 90, but so that's not exactly a even analogy. But the point being, the one time a year that it goes above 100 real fuel, or something, like we still have air conditioners for that. A lot of people. So, and maybe they do. Just probably depends where you're talking about, what area of the South, but just based on comments I've seen, I think they were talking about like one of the places in a certain part of Texas. Like we don't have anything because we only get it once every 10 years. But like, wouldn't you want to still have something for the one time? But maybe it's such a rare occurrence that's not even worth it, and you just stay home that day, and then it melts the next day or two, and it's like a once in a 10-year deal. So I do get that for places that are extremely rare. Anyway, I'm going to get back to regular life. And excited to see what... actually, I should pause this and then have someone video me go hanging out the clothes. That might be fun. It's like an adventure. Gonna go try to hang out the laundry today and see what happens. Okay, it's now minus 24 real feel, or wind chill factor, and I'm gonna try to go out there and hang my laundry and start. My wife has to go, so I'm gonna start her car, warm it up for her, dust it off, and see if I can hang laundry and see what happens. And minus 24 wind chill with the actual of more like -1. All right, so I can get somebody to hold the phone for me. All right, guys, I got bundled up. My trusty old roofing coveralls or whatever. Snowmobiling suit, whatever you call it, old-fashioned thing. And can you video me going out there? And I put all these layers on to go put my laundry out and start the car for my wife. She's got to go in a minute, couple minutes, a little bit. You ready? I'm getting hot. I'm getting really hot in here. It's not even very hot in the house, but with all these layers on, it's like suffocating. I got a couple extra coats there. I kind of maybe want to put one more of them on. I already got a lot of coats. Or not a lot. I got a few extra layers on. I think my feet might be cold because I do have these snow boots, but the socks are, somebody tricked me, and like all my socks, there's a bunch of like small kid socks in there. I don't know where all mine are. It's weird. Okay. All right. I got the coveralls. What do you call it? Sweatpants. A couple layers of pants. What's happening right now? It's the flashlight came on. My feet might get a cold, little docs. Couldn't find the greatest socks. In Canada, I was in Canada one time and they would put their socks over their thing like this. Not like what do you call it? Like Western Ontario, not like Toronto or something. I don't know about that. If they do that there or not, but oh my gosh, I'm literally getting so.
That face is priceless.
Are you taking a video of him?
Yeah, he's gonna video me doing my laundry out there and dusting off your car.
Mom, that face is priceless.
Oh
I
my God.
got it on video. You're on this.
Oh, show the best part. Did you show the temperature? Or did we do that already?
Already did
It
that.
literally says, here, down here, it's on here.
Huh?
It literally says we're at the coldest like that you might ever feel in like 5 years, in like a year, at least a year, I believe, unless it gets colder yet this winter. So the real feel is minus 24. A lot of people, there are a lot of people that have temperatures that cold, like Minnesota, Canada, like Alaska. But a lot of people have never had the opportunity, and yes, I call it an opportunity, to experience such an amazing thing. Like, who could even imagine what that feels like?
Bro.
I'm putting 2 layers of gloves on. Unfortunately, I'm getting very hot and starting to sweat, so that's going to make it work.
Dad, I got the perfect view.
Oh, good. Okay, hope it doesn't run out of memory. It's been on forever. Or battery or whatever.
Turn off so you get up there.
But,
Turn it off until you get up there.
no, it's fine. Well, yeah, you can pause it, actually. Alright, Goofy Godtrolls. After a nice breakfast, then I'm gonna go hang my laundry on this nice minus 24 wind chill day. I've almost never been in anything like it, except for when I went to Canada one time. And now that I lived here a few years, there was, I think, another day like this, the winter, like 2 years ago. Here we go. Can you get me outside the window?
Put the flash on. What is bro doing? He just stuck his tongue out. Look at him. Look at your husband. He's taking off his stuff and sticking his tongue out.
He's hot. He's hanging. Because he was inside with all his clothes on. And now he's taking stuff off.
Oh. He's been doing this for 40 minutes. The max is 55 something.
We're doing this instead of making my omelet. Okay.
Okay, he's gone. What even was the point of that, bro? This guy. I know he's joking, right? Why is he even putting his clothes out there? They all fell on the ground. No, okay, bro. Don't. Just don't. I can't watch this anymore. It's just too much.
Just watch it. Just do it. Oh.
You're the eggs to my bacon. I think he has CTE.
What does that mean?
When you have a concussion too much times and it makes you crazy.
I don't think so.
I mean, that's Cheerios. But what's my dad doing? He went to the corner. Dad sat up in the window. He's putting his clothes out when it's negative 24.
I know it.
See,
ice.
Mom, can you pour some Cheerios?
Yeah, I'm trying to feed myself too because I have to go to work. It's leaking again. Hey Hunter, can you get almond milk for me, please? While I pour your cereal?
I need to get my phone today by 3 o'clock. It's the Valentine's update.
I don't know. I'm not going to be there at 3 o'clock.
I'm actually sick, guys.
Wait, Mom, do you know
Do you
where
want
it
some
is?
tea?
Maybe.
Mom, do you know where it is?
No, I don't, Hunter.
Marion threw up.
Two?
Marion threw up at school yesterday, and Marion.
Wait, actually?
Yeah, that's why she went home. And Kinsey threw up like 2 days ago at school, and Marion's mom been throwing up so much at home. When they were in the kitchen, they heard, like when Tessa and Marion were in the kitchen, they heard a splat. And it was Marion's mom. She came in the living room, and then she.
Leave the video on. Okay, where's the video?
Up in the window.
Ah, I thought he was up there videoing it. Okay. All right, that was fun. Negative 24 wind chill.
Are you recording me?
Negative 24 wind chill. Isn't this awesome? When have you ever got to feel negative 24? This is a once in a lifetime. It's going to go away before you know it. This is exciting.
Hi.
Guys, that was fun.
Oh wait, yeah, we can't use that bowl because it'll melt.
This is leaking again.
Okay.
Wait, you have to
So,
I'm heating up.
negative 24. Excuse me, wind chill. Actual says 5 on this one, but the sensor's inside a garage. Barn thing. I think the actual said negative one a few minutes ago. But to me, it's exciting. It's easy to say because I don't have to be out there all day. But I really did not honestly feel, with all these layers on, my face started to feel a little bit cold. And I might be getting acclimated too, because it's been like, you know, not this cold, but it's been almost this cold like for a while, for weeks. So it didn't actually, because I was really bracing myself for the worst. And, you know, I wouldn't want to have to work on it all day on a day like this necessarily, but just to go out there for a couple minutes actually was not bad at all. The only part that was bad is when I took my glove off and got some snow in my hand, and even that wasn't that bad. And then when I my face started to get cold because I purposely had taken my hat off because I was literally like almost too warm when I first went out there, but it might have just been a leftover of being in the house and overheating with all these layers on beforehand. Once you're out there, it's easy. Anybody can go out for like a minute or something, or 5 minutes, but the real test is if you're out there like all day. Like these kids walking, some of these kids walk to school in shorts and stuff, but it's like, well, what's the point? You're only out there for like 5, 10, whatever minutes. And you can actually get frostbite, I heard, in these temperatures, I think they said a half an hour or less in these temperatures. But these kids think they're tough with, I feel like, walking in shorts, and they're like, I feel like they're only out there for like 5 or 10 minutes or 15 minutes at the most or something. And it's like, well, what's the big deal? It's not like you're working in it all day. Like, it's a whole different story. Or surviving in the Arctic or something. But the point being, just to go out there for a few minutes was actually, especially because I've had all these layers on, and I didn't even use all of the ones that I thought I was going to use. I actually started feeling like I needed to take a few off, at least at first. Was actually very comfortable, except for my face when I had my face mask off. When I put my face mask back on and my gloves were on, at least just for a few minutes, it was, oh cool, look at that snowplow. It was actually very comfortable. It didn't even feel cold. And then my feet, I noticed a little bit chilly right now because I think a little bit of snow got in there. Because it was deeper than I thought. We must have got actually more snow, but like I said, there was snow from before and before and before and before. And still the snow from like 2 weeks ago, that was like a deeper snow. All right.